All right. Um, Hi, everyone. Welcome to my presentation, Lessons of Leadership from the Wizard of Oz. Before we start, I would like to address our Turkmen and Russian community. I would like to say that we were planning to have this presentation in Turkmen or Russian, but because the majority people on the questionnaire wanted us to speak Turkmen, we decided to speak Turkmen. So throughout this presentation, if our Turkmen audience will have any questions, we will pause for them and we'll translate it for them. Hemen de salam. Gelenin için tanrıkatın. Bizim prezentatsiyamız şu ingliz tiline olur sebebi prezentasiya taýanlyk göremizde bizim soru jogabymyzda köpüňiz men ingliz tiline gurlanmy haýyş etdiňiz. Ýöne siziň düşünmedik ýerliňiz bolsa, ýa sorularyňyz bolsa, meni duduruň, gerek sorularyň soraň. Bu prezentasiýa sizin üçin, şoň üçin utanman sorularyňyzy beriberiň. Дорогие друзья, спасибо, что забрались. Сегодня наша презентация будет на русском языке, потому что на опросник большинство людей попросило, чтобы я говорил именно на английском языке. Но, пожалуйста, если во время презентации у вас будут какие-нибудь вопросы, и если вы что-нибудь не поймете, пожалуйста, остановите меня и задавайте свои вопросы. So, let's get to it. I will be honest, this is my first time giving a webinar, so I will do my best to coordinate between the tabs here. But so there you go. All right. So, who am I? Well, my name is Allamyrat Tuyliyev. I am born and raised in Turkmenistan. I have a bachelor in petroleum engineering. I got it in United States, where I'm doing my practical experience. I am not in petroleum engineering. I've been in IT industry for over 7 years. On my free time, I enjoy building and benchmarking gaming computers with my son. This is my son. And why am I talking about the leadership? So from the age of 15, I've been involved in some sort of leadership. I was a youth power center coordinator. After that, after I graduated from school, I had an opportunity to visit United States as part of Flex program. After I came back from Flex, I had an honor to serve in the Army. After I came back from the Army, I went back to the United States to get my bachelor's. And I became at the Independence Community College. I was a president of Student Government Association. Then I moved on to the University of Kansas. And over there, I had an opportunity to be a coordinator at the student union activities. And throughout my school, I had an opportunity to visit Hasselbeck Global Academy. Hasselbeck Global Academy had a major impact on me, and as a matter of fact, I would like to mention that, and I'd like to give credit to Major General Randall Fulhard, to whom this actual metaphor belongs to. The idea inspired and motivated me, and I've learned and grown from it, and it made me a better leader. Therefore, I'm excited to share this with you. Also, if you want a link to Hasselbeck website, let me know. I would love to share it because it happens every year and it's free. And it would be great if more Turkmen people would participate and present our country there. So today's presentation will be about the Wizard of Oz. So unfortunately, there isn't sound on this, but basically what's happening is that this is Dorothy, and she just landed in the land of Oz, and she's thinking that she's somewhere over the rainbow. So, what is Wizard of Oz? Well, The Wizard of Oz is a famous American musical. It was produced in 1939, and it's based on children's fantasy novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. It's an icon of American pop culture. It is so popular that according to Library of Congress, it was chosen as the favorite movie of 20th century. It was so popular that there's so many remakes on this that if you just go and Google it, of course, this musical will show up. But if you dive into it, there's so many remakes. It is so popular that you will just see more and more remakes. But what is the plot? What is the actual plot of the Wizard of Oz? So Dorothy ends up in the land of Oz, and she needs to see the Wizard of Oz in Emerald City because only he can send her home. On the way to Emerald City, she meets Scarecrow, who wants to have a brain. Later on her way, she meets a Tin Man, who wants to have a heart. And later on, she meets a lion, who wants to be brave. And together, they go through the journey. Now, why are we tying this to leadership? The whole leadership, the idea of leadership is very old. There are very many books written. There are many speeches that were given regarding this topic. But I think all of them will agree that successful leader should have a brain, he should have a heart, and he should be brave. That's a no-brainer. But why should your peers follow you? Because all of you are leaders. Every single one of you who is right now sitting and watching this video is trying to improve. So you are all already leaders. But why should you be a leader worth following? And that's what we'd like to talk about. We'll dive a little bit deeper into these concepts. So in this video, she is asking the Scarecrow, what would you do if you had a brain? And he is basically in a musical singing to her what he would have done. So what is knowledge? Also, I would like to point out that because this is a live presentation, all the pictures are copyrighted. So guess what? I use the picture that I have a lot, and that's a picture of my son. So enjoy the pictures of my son. Also, let's talk about the knowledge. The knowledge can, the brain specifically, can we can divide it into knowledge, innovation, and the aspect of being visionary. So, an example: you are assigned as a leader of a team of software engineers, and they want you to, let me use this. Aha, now you can see it better. All right, so you're assigned as a leader of software engineers. They might know about software engineering more than you do. Does it mean that you're a bad leader? No. You still need to have some knowledge, because it would be really bad if you're just coordinating a bunch of people without any knowledge in the industry. But still, it doesn't mean that you need to know more than them. What it means that you need to have enough leadership skills to put their skills together. They all have their own strengths and weaknesses. So do you need knowledge? Yes. Do you need to know more than them? Not necessarily, but you need to apply all the knowledge that you have. For example, if you have a knowledge in online marketing, and these software engineers are working on a new software, and they want to create a new software, hey, this is a time where you use your knowledge. And it's just an example. there are many ways you can apply the knowledge that you have, because of course you have some knowledge, of course you have some experience. This is the time to actually apply that knowledge. This is the time to actually use that knowledge. So why innovation is important? Well, in order for you to be a successful leader, you need to be innovative. The whole idea of innovation is that you need to question all the things that are normal right now, and you need to come up with an idea that wasn't used before. With that idea, you will be able to obtain more followers. Yes, a lot of people will say, well, you can, I'm just charismatic, I don't have much knowledge, but people like me, and I'm going to go for it. Well, it's not necessarily true, because no matter how charismatic you are, if you are in industry, let's say an IT industry, and you're a very charismatic person and you are a leader of certain group, but you don't know anything, the charisma will take you only so far. You need to be knowledgeable about the subject, but you don't need to be an expert in it. Okay, so let's talk about being visionary. Jack Welch said that good business leaders create a vision, articulate the vision, passionately own the vision, and relentlessly drive it to completion. So let's put it this way. If you are a good leader, you need to create a vision. You need to be innovative. So for example, you have some knowledge and you are innovative. So you have an idea. It's a great idea. No one ever thought about it before. So you put it together and it's your vision. Now you need to explain it to your team. In many situations, it takes some effort to explain to your team why it's a good idea, and it's your responsibility. You have to report to your team in a way that yes, they do report to you, but at the same time, you are accountable. You have to explain them. So you need to articulate the vision. That way they know what they have to achieve. They know their goal. They have specific roles. They have specific jobs defined. Now, passionately own the vision. It's in a way that, they always say, when you achieve something, it's not only you, it's your team. Yes, that's true. However, when that vision fails, I hope not, but if it does, you have to take the fault. You have to take the blame. It was your idea. Your team followed you. You created that vision. You articulated that vision. You draw them into this, and now you have to take the blame. That is the meaning of being a true leader. But let's say that everything went perfect. Now, relentlessly drive it to completion means that you have to be with your team step by step. You have to be with them no matter what. You have to take them through all of these adversaries. Now, let's go and look at the next slide. That is heart. So in this video, the Tin Man is basically telling to Dorothy and the Scarecrow that he wants a heart. So, and he's going to sing about it basically. So, like I said, a lot of pictures of my son, because we are not going to violate any copyrights. Empathy. Let's talk about empathy a little bit. It's very important, because we, as society, we're humans. We depend on each other. We grow together. It's our community. It's our society, and it's very important when you are in a team to have a specific warm atmosphere that so people are comfortable talking, for example, to you or talking to each other. So one of the major things that I would like to point out is acknowledging the accomplishments of your team whenever you can. That is very important because from a biological perspective, actually, there's a hormone dopamine that rewards whenever we accomplish something. Our body creates this hormone, the dopamine, and it makes us feel happy. Well, guess what? Every time when you define a specific assignment or a specific goal for your team, you need to acknowledge it. You need to tell them, hey, you did a great job. Because when you say that, those people, they will be happy. And it's as simple as that. You need to keep people happy. So sometimes we get into situations when people don't really understand what they're doing. And in those situations, people will fail and they will feel like they're not achieving enough. They will feel like they are not part of team's success. And that is your responsibility as a leader to define those goals for them. As a matter of fact, if you want to break those down, you want to break down those tasks in that way they are important. You can't just give them silly tasks. You need to make sure that those tasks are important and they are contributing to the team, but at the same time they are achievable for that specific person. And it's your responsibility to know what are your teammates' strengths and weaknesses. For example, if you have a team and it's a customer-facing team, so you have someone who is very good with customer service. He loves working with people. His communication is 100, but you make him sit on the back and make documentation. Well, that's not really good, because if he is a really motivated guy, yes, he will do a great job at it, but that's not his strength. It would be a lot easier for you as a leader to have to rotate the roles in a way that everyone does what they're good at, and every time when they do something well, they will be happy about it. And that is the importance of empathy. It's putting yourself in the shoes of your teammates. You need to understand what they're going through, what they're good at. From my personal example, I always connected with my teammates, and I was often criticized for that. I was told that when you connect with your team so close that you invite them over, that you have them sit at your dinner table and you introduce them to your family, what if you have to let them go at some point? If you have to fire them? Well, as a leader, if I saw that one of my teammates is not delivering certain deliveries, it is my responsibility to basically give them. It is my responsibility to give them not specifically a warning, but give them some sort of ask them, hey, what's going on? Why? What is happening? Why we're not doing this? It is your responsibility to talk about it, because yes, it is really hard to just tell someone all out of the blue, hey, we gotta let you go. That's not nice. But if you, for example, tell that person fourth time, hey, we really need to work on this. Would you like to maybe do something else? Maybe this is not for you. Maybe we can give you a different task. Then if after 4 times, yes, you'll have to make a hard decision if you want to let that person go. But I find it very easy for myself to actually connect with my team. On the next video, this is a cowardly lion. And on this video, he's basically crying because she punched him. So again, I'm sorry that there is no audio. I'm very disappointed. But basically, he's telling that he really wishes to be hard, to be brave. Sorry, he really wants to be brave. So another picture of my son. And part 3, bravery. Is a bravery a key to true leadership? I think so. I think it's very important because yes, you can be very knowledgeable about the topic. You can be very empathetic, and you can have compassion towards your teammate. But if you are not brave enough to speak up, if you are not brave enough to question certain things in your life, or that if you're not ready to question things that are set in stone, like I said earlier, maybe it will not be as easy for you. It will be a lot harder for you as a leader without being brave. So don't be afraid of questions that were set in stone. People often say, "Oh, well, that thing is obvious." Well, guess what? Things that were obvious today are not as obvious tomorrow. In a way that, for example, things like Netflix or Amazon or Tesla, long time ago, no one even thought about those things. But if you think about it today, it's part of our lives, and you don't even think about it that much. You're like, oh, it's just Amazon or AliExpress. Those things are, oh, you just go and shop online and they deliver it to you. Well, that wasn't like that before, you know? So you need to ask the right questions to lead the innovation. For example, you'll always meet someone in your life who is better than you. You'll always meet someone who is stronger with his skills, someone who has better ideas, someone who is more charismatic. But you can't just avoid those people. You need to be brave enough to accept those people in your team. That is the brave thing to do, because if you have that person in your team, that is your team success. Let's talk about imposter syndrome really quick. What is it? Well, I think everyone has, at least I do. I think there are moments in your life when you have that syndrome. The imposter syndrome is when you think that you are not, you can't be compared to your peers. So you have, for example, all your friends achieved certain things and they're very proud of it, and then you look into their achievements and you think, well, I'm not that successful. They achieved more than I achieved. They're better than me. My ideas are not good. My ideas are not worth mentioning. And that is not right. Like I said, I have it, I should say, very often. And the only way to battle it is to talk about it and to basically just thinking about all the achievements that you have in your life. But story time. When I was at school, I had my own team in the brain ring. And there was this guy who was he was very smart. He so for those who don't know what brainring is, basically there are a bunch of teams, and they ask a question. They ask a question, and whoever answers the question first, he gets the point until they run out of questions, and then who answered the most wins. Pretty simple. But so when I had a team, there was this guy who he wanted to be in my team. He wanted to be in my team, and at that time, I was brave enough to accept him in my team. Although, as a captain, I always thought that I need to be the smartest in my team. I need to answer all the questions, or at least I need to contribute to at least 50% of all the correct answers, while this guy answered all of them. And he was just really smart. And I was very contemplating about it. I was like, maybe, oh wow, maybe he is. I was very insecure about it. And that's what it calls imposter syndrome. So the point is, in the end, I realized that it's not about his success, because yes, he was answering the questions, but who was getting the points? Our team was getting the points. It's never about you as a specific person. It's about your team. And if you are having a really strong person in your team, that means that they thought that you are a good leader to join, and that should be a compliment for you. And as a leader, it is your responsibility to create an atmosphere for them, to create an atmosphere to grow, because all your teammates, they always need to have an opportunity to grow. And again, as a leader, it is your responsibility to make sure that they're growing as people. So now we talked about bravery. Let's move on to the values. So in this video, Dorothy is back home. She's back home, and no one believes her that it was a real thing. Everyone questions her credibility, but she very, very much believes. You very much believe. No one believes her that it's true. So values, and another picture of my son. Everyone has values and beliefs. Everyone. So, for example, in this musical, Dorothy keeps saying that she really wants to go home. Like throughout the whole musical, she keeps saying, "I really want to go home." She really wants to go home, and that's why she did all this. But what was her value? If you think about it, there might be different perspectives and opinions on that, but I think that what she wanted to achieve is that, first of all, she left in an if you watch it, you'll realize that she kind of left in an argument with her family. So she in the end, she says, there is no place better than home. So that is her value. But how values dictate our leadership skill? Well, let's talk about Bill Gates, for example. Bill Gates never wanted to be famous or rich. Bill Gates, he believed that every person in the world deserved to have a computer on their desk, regardless of the money, regardless of the financial situation. He simply believed that every people deserve to have a computer, and that was his goal. His value created his goal, and he achieved it. I think he achieved it, because I think thanks to him, we all have computers on our desk. Well, not all, but hopefully one day everyone, because that would be awesome. So let's talk about my values for a second. To give a better example, after spending years abroad, um, I personally realized that there is no place better than home. In my value system, I believe that I should give back to my community, whatever I am or whenever I can. For the same reason, I served in the army, because I believe that it is my duty. I volunteered and worked at YPeer, Youth Power Center, and American Consuls. Now I'm doing this talk because I believe that I need to give back to my community. So that helped me throughout my life. That helped me to to work on my goals, because when I believe in something, it always helped me to achieve my goals better. So why are we talking about this right now? Well, as a leader, you need to have a set goal. You can't just gather people around and say, "Hey guys, we're just gonna hang out here for a second, or maybe for a year, for no reason." Well, you need to have a goal, and when you define your values, when you look deep down yourself and you think, "What do I value? What do I believe in?" Then those then setting your goals will be much easier. You will be able to go towards your goals, and you will be motivated. You will be more successful that way. All right. So let's go towards our conclusion really quick. And like I said, another picture of my son. No copyright issues. So why is it important to have all four? Well, um, without empathy and compassion, you will seem a cold-hearted person. You want to be empathetic, and you want to be nice to people. Just be nice to people, guys. Without bravery, you'll be afraid to innovate. You'll be afraid to share your ideas, and you will be afraid to even speak up. That's why bravery is important. Without knowledge, you'll only go this far. Without any innovative ideas, without knowledge in industry, if you go into industry, and like I said, you'll only go this far. Even if you are brave and you're empathetic, still, you need to have knowledge. And finally, without values, you're just a sailor without a compass. You need to know where you're going. Combining all this together, I would like to tell you a quick story. When I was in the army, I believed that it doesn't have to be as brutal as it is. So I had one soldier in my squad who simply one day he simply refused to sweep the streets. He's like, "I'm not doing this today," for whatever reason. The thing is, I was a sergeant, and the streets has to be swept, and someone has to do it, and it's his turn. What do you do? How do you? What do you do? Like, you have certain options that are basic, which is like, you can go and complain about him to the officer and say, "Hey, that guy is not doing his job," and then he'll get in trouble, and then you'll be called names. Then another example that you can do, you can force him to do it. You can apply force to it, and again, he will do it. But that's against my beliefs. I don't believe that everything has to be done through some brutal force. Another thing is that let's think about from the knowledge perspective. I know his values. He was a very proud guy. He was very proud that he was very proud of himself, and he was very proud of his squad, because we were like exemplary squad. So what I did was I gambled. I took a broom and I started sweeping the street. And I'm not sure if how um, how well you are familiar to the military system, but it looked really bad for a sergeant to be sweeping the street when his squad is not doing anything. I did gamble. I mean, he could have just not said anything and I would have swept the whole street, which I don't mind. But within couple minutes, he approached me and he said, please don't do this. You're making me look bad. I will do this. Please don't embarrass me like this. So what I'm trying to say here is that I think that's a good example of leadership. Is that yes, I did gamble. He could have said no. He could have not even approached me, but he felt that his values are attacked, and that's why he approached. So if you put it all together, everything that we talked about today, we can see that it's very important to have all of these to be a successful leader. You need to look at it from this perspective. Your team is your crew. It's your crew, and you're a captain of a ship. And when there's a hole in a ship, you need to be knowledgeable to resolve the issue. You need to know what to do. You need to know how to act. You need to lead your team with compassion during these times of trouble. You need to be brave to face these issues, and you need to lead your teams through all these challenges. And finally, you need to know where the land is. You need to know where to navigate with a clear goal ahead of you. And that is all for today, guys. So if you have any questions right now, I would love to answer them. Again, you can you can ask questions in Turkmen. I see a question. Let's see. Is it? I think we can do this. Yeah. First question. Is it possible having the skills but not be a leader? And does it take time? Okay. So let's put it this way. I think all of these skills, as in let's put it not in a skills way, as in a knowledge, empathy, and bravery and values. I think you need them to simply be successful in your life. You don't have to specifically apply to leadership. You can apply it to anything. You can apply it in your daily life. You can work on your career this way. Throughout my life, there wasn't a time when I was just a leader and there was no one above me. There's always hierarchy. There's always someone above me to whom I reported. So I wasn't the leader in that situation, but still I lived by my values. And I tried to be brave when we had certain challenges. Regarding does it take time, I think it does. It might take time to obtain knowledge. It might take time to understand that not everyone is going through to be empathetic. So it will take time to understand that not everyone is living in the same conditions as you do. For example, you can't compare if someone is family oriented or someone is career oriented. You can't compare their goals and say, well, you can't expect them to perform in the same way. So it might take time to understand that, but I think it's achievable easily. All right, let's talk to. Okay, I have a question about Melis. All right, hi Melis. Yes, so I told currently I work at Fidelity Investments as the end user support specialist. Currently at my job, basically we're facing we're the front line. So we work directly with people. So for example, and a group actually last week, great example. I think that there was a spear phishing attempt. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the terminology, but spear phishing is when hackers try to target the management of the company. Again, I'm sorry if you know this, but basically, that was me. I got the call, and the guy was trying to get information about the guy was trying to take the information about our management, and so I think right now we have, since it's Fidelity Investments, it's a global company. We have a very strong cybersecurity team. We have latest antiviruses. Our firewall is up to notch. We basically all our software, including Google, are going through the cybersecurity team before they are deployed company-wide. That way, there is no way there are any hacker attacks. However, there's always a problem of social engineering, and that's what the phishing is. It's a social engineering part of it. What happens is because the majority we have, and it's not only elderly. I guess it's not fair to say mostly elderly employees. We have people that would receive an email that would say, "Hey, click on this link. It has $1 million in it." You just can't get rid of it. There will be people that will click on that on that link. There will be people that click on it. Of course, we have a lot of sites banned. We have a lot of it will say that, oh, that site is unavailable, or it will say it's blocked by Fidelity. But our job mostly is making sure that those leaders, sorry, a lot of leaders today. Our job is that those people are not are protected from those attacks. I hope I answered your question. I tried my best. If I didn't, you can reach out to me. I would love to talk about it. Also, I will give my next session would be about social cybersecurity. I will go easy first. It will not be directly teaching about certain skills, but more intro about. We'll talk about malware. We will talk about the types of attacks and how to protect yourself from them. It will be more how a specific user can protect himself. And then the next session, I'll plan on more tech. Let's answer this question really quick. Leadership and demand annotation have something common between. That is a good question. I think it comes down to values. So I think it comes down to values, because, in my opinion, I might be wrong, but I know what you're talking about. I met a lot of people in my life who seek Because I met a lot of people in my life who really want attention, but I don't think they really succeed as leaders. They might be drawing a lot of attention and drawing a lot of subscribers and drawing a lot of people, but the values, it's all about the values. What do you what is your goal? If your goal is to become popular, then I don't think you can call yourself a leader. You're more like a celebrity, I guess. But to answer your question, I guess leadership and demand on attention does have something in common, as in you are gathering people around you, and that comes with a responsibility. If you have millions of subscribers, going on the news, not on the news, but going live and saying something, making a statement, as in, okay, let's talk about coronavirus. A lot of people, I think, who have a lot of subscribers are responsible for what they're posting. For example, they would post that, oh, if you drink bleach, you'll be cured from coronavirus. That you can't do that. But he has a lot of, that person, not he, I don't know, if it's a he, that person has responsibility. And I think leadership and demand on people that want attention have that in common, as in responsibility. They are responsible for what they're doing. I hope I answered your question again. The second question is what to do if there is a conflict of interest between two potential leaders. What would be the best way to deal with this problem? Well, two potential leaders, meaning that both of those people are successful. Both of those leaders have they wanna become a leader. They are pretending for a specific role. Okay, so I will create a situation. I'll create a situation for you. So two people, there's an available position, and there are two people, and they're both equally fit. They're equally fit for that position, and they have a conflict of interest. And let's say one of them is you. Then I would like to address you. I don't know the second person, and I'm talking to you. I think it's very important. I think it's important that when there is a conflict of interest, to look at it from the perspective of another guy. In many situations, we end up just blindly not even thinking about, I might be wrong, because that person is your competitor. He is pretending for the same role as you are. So you will reject any ideas from him. You will say, no, this is not right. You should. I'm not saying that you're doing that, but I'm saying you need to take a step back, and you need to look at. You need to take a look at that, what he's saying. If what or she is saying, if that second leader has actually a good idea, and he actually has a good point, maybe you should give in, and maybe you should actually if that's a good, let's say if it's a good idea, then you should motivate him. You should be like, encourage him. You should be like, hey, this is a great idea, and that way you're proving to the management because you have someone who is making a decision, and if they're watching, they will notice that you are not afraid to accept other ideas. But let's say that the idea is not good. Let's say that the idea it's not good. In that case, I think you need to talk to that person. instead of going somewhere else and talking to someone else about it, I think if you go and talk to that person and say, and talk like, don't, I'm not saying that you need to go and just say, hey, you're wrong, but I think it's better if you actually make them see what's wrong with it. You can do that by asking questions. It's a completely different, like, it's a huge topic, but коротко говоря, it's, you need, if you know what's wrong with that idea, ask questions and lead that person to it. Make that person answer it. Make that person say it. Make that person say, oh yeah, I see now. If that person just refuses to believe that his idea is not right, if he just refuses to believe that, no, this is he keeps saying that this is right, then trust me, the leadership will see that. And if you are competing for, if you're not competing, but you are trying to get a specific leadership position, I'm pretty sure they will know that, they will see that, because it's all about how you show yourself. I hope I answered your question. So I'd like to move on to, is ethical hacking crime? Because I do sometimes. Yes, it is a crime. And one of the things, because of this, I was thinking not to go in too deep into cybersecurity, because a lot of people can use it in their advantage. So yes, that is a crime. Don't do that. I mean, you can, okay, actually, ethical hacking. What is ethical hacking? That's, for example, penetrate testing, and then making a list of what you did to get there, and then sending it to the company. Sending it to the company and saying, hey, this is what I did, and I was able to find the vulnerability. That is not crime. Good job. If you can do that, awesome. We need more people like you. But if a lot of people take ethical hacking classes and then they use it in their own advantage, that is not good. That is a crime. So ethical hacking is not a crime. Ethical hacking, if you are helping this, if you're in a cybersecurity side, if you're in a good side, then you're awesome. So Ali, you're awesome. Okay. Do you think that empathy is lately achievable skill, or is it something given to you specifically? That's a good question. I don't think you can achieve it in a way that you can, for example, knowledge. You can't compare knowledge and empathy. With knowledge, you would, for example, read X amount of books. You will learn something and gain knowledge. But to gain empathy, I think the best way to do that is to put yourself in someone else's shoes, and understanding that not everyone is having it the way you do. I think it is achievable. I wouldn't say that's a skill, but I think it's achievable in a way that I think a lot of, so I live in the United States, and I have a lot of people, that in US, my friends who would travel, and they would say, hey, I traveled to this country, and I realized that I was wrong about certain things. I never thought that this country had it this hard, and they're empathetic about it, but they weren't. They never thought about it before, and they look at it from a different perspective. So I wouldn't say that's a skill, but I think it's something that humans have. If someone grew up in a family where there was no empathy, and he never really realized what it feels like to hurt our people. I mean, probably he knows, unless he's enjoying it, then that's a different topic. But um, if he doesn't understand what other people are going through when he's bullying them, for example, then I don't think he. I think he needs to. I think those people need to simply put themselves in other people's shoes. So again, to wrap it up, I think it's given to everyone, unless there are deeper issues there. I think it's given to everyone. I don't think that's a skill, but I think that's achievable, and that's my opinion. Okay, let's go to the next. Inajan, I agree with you. I agree with you. Yes, it's ethical hacking is not crime. I actually misread it, and I think what I tried to say is that a lot of people take ethical hacking courses. They learn a lot about hacking, and they use it in their advantage. Sorry if I wasn't clear, but you were right. Yes, it is ethical, and it's not a crime. Tiding pikirіңізше, yolbaşçılık okuyuplary dua bitti ya da diňe öwrenilip bilinjek bir zat? Meň pikirimçe, yolbaşçılık okuyuplary öwrenilip bolýar. Sebäbi meň pikirimçe hemme kişi şo men gurulmadan da atlam diýeli beyni ya da yürek bolmaly diýdim. Otaň batyrlyk. O zatlar men pikirimçe hemme kişi öwrenip bilýär. Batyrlyk diýjek bolan adam özüni kynçylykta nädip alyp barmak, şo gorkman öz komandaňy iýdiňden bir men türkmen diline ýa bir ýyla gürleşmeden başlarsaňyz, öz komandaňy bir degişli ýere getirmek, şo getmek, men pikirimçe bu zatlary öwrenip bolýar. Men öz ömrümde köp adam duşdum. Olar çağlykda yaman ýuwaşdy ýa-da olar hemişe diýerler, ýok men hiçeşen ýolbaşçy bolup bilmeýän ýöne şu wagt meniň köp dostum şu wagt ýolbaşçy ýolbaşçy bolup işleýärler. Ve men pikirimçe hemme kişi ýolbaşçylyk okuyuplary öwrenip biler. Okay, let's. Any advices about certifications or required skills to get an internship in cybersecurity? I think the easiest one, at least I think it's the easiest, is CompTIA Plus Security. I think that's the easiest one, and I think that will land you an internship in cybersecurity. The cybersecurity topic is constantly evolving. It constantly changing. They keep adding stuff stuff get outdated all the time. So if you want to get an internship in cybersecurity, I think CompTIA Security Plus would be already a great plus. I noticed that a lot of people that want to get an internship in cybersecurity don't really have experience in cybersecurity, or at least have some, but they don't have certifications. When they apply, I've been watching, for example, some jobs, and they would always say that CompTIA Plus Security is a plus, but we really need you to know what firewall is, what the proxy settings are. We need you to know basic Windows stuff. If you know those things, and I think you need to understand what vulnerabilities out there. But I think CompTIA Security Plus for the intern would be a great plus. I think you should do it, definitely. All right. What if someone on the team is trying to take a leadership position? So what if someone on your team is trying to take a leadership position? Is it worth it to consider as a good leader? So I think I had a lot of situations in my life when I had someone in my team. They were just great leaders. So I would like to specify, for example, in what you're asking. Let's say if that leader is trying to take your position, that is okay. Let's get back to it. Let's say that leader wants to take a different leader position, not yours, because that's a little bit easier for now. Let's start there. I think when you have a leader in your team, it's great, because if they joined your team and they grown with you, that is amazing. That is a compliment for you that, hey, you made that leader. You like it or not, they like it or not, they were under your leadership. You created that atmosphere for them, so they were able to flourish, and they were able to get to the point when they said, you know what, I'm ready to be a leader. And that's what I had in my life. I never had someone who wanted my position. I always had someone in my life who wanted to move on to a different position and become a leader there. And I helped with preparing them for that role. I did my best, because when someone is basically graduating from your team to another team, it's a compliment for you. Now, when they try to take your position, that is, I think that's a little bit different. I think it's good to talk to that person first. Sometimes we might see a threat where it is not. Maybe they don't even want. Maybe they're just super active, and they're not very interested. They're just very active people. But if they want to take your leadership position, I would talk to them. I would simply talk to them, and I would try to understand what is going on, because I don't think that's ethically right for him to do that, especially if you know about it. It means that he's doing it, or she are doing it openly. I think the easiest way is to talk to that person, because you don't want any negativity in your team. If you keep ignoring it, I think that will just escalate, and that will affect your team. If you have team around you and he's a member of that team, that will affect your team. You need to address the issues as soon as possible. There is a saying, keep your enemies close. I'm not saying that he's your enemy or she is your enemy. I'm not saying that they're your enemy in any way, but I'm trying to say is try to keep them close. Try to talk to them. Try to see what they're trying to achieve. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, I think that person will understand that if you become friends, I guess they will understand that it's not the right thing to do. I hope I answered your question. I guess my answer is try to talk to those people, talk to that person, and address this, because if they really want your position, and that will just escalate. Had there been times when you had lost your motivation to lead? If so, how did you overcome it, and what usually inspires you? Okay, I I had a lot of times when I lost my motivation. I had like I said, I had a lot. I had a lot of experience in leadership. Leadership is part of my life. So I guess I guess the I guess the best story to tell you would be when I was in student government association. I was a coordinator of student government association. As a coordinator, I was just a part of. It was a huge organization. It was huge, and we were. My job. I was a coordinator of cultural programming. So my job was to basically make sure that students at the University of Kansas get basically a touch of different cultures. So the problem appeared when I started inviting. For example, the very first night was Saudi Arabian night. So we invited members of Saudi Arabian Association, and they were very excited about it. We made an event with them. So as a part of their dance, they had to hold swords, like swords. And I said, that's fine. It's just a dance. And then basically my manager saw that, and they got scared for the safety of the audience, and that is justified. I can see why. But there were many situations. After that, when I would try to create an event, and they would just cut me down. For example, I understand why they wouldn't want a fire show inside, but for example, when we wanted to bring anything pointy, we had a Japanese night, and we wanted to bring some katanas as a display. We wanted to show that to people because they never seen that. But again and again, they kept limiting me. And right now, I understand why. Right now, I think about it. If I was my manager, I would do the same thing. But as a coordinator, I'm trying to get to some point. I'm trying to achieve something, and my management kept shutting me down. They were like, "No, we can't do that. No, we can't do that. No, we can't do that." So I lost my motivation. I said, I don't want to do this again. I mean, I didn't. I was thinking about quitting, but that would be extreme. So what I did instead was it took me some time, but I realized what impact we were doing to University of Kansas. So think about it from this perspective. The people, there are a lot of, so the people that travel, they get to travel. Good, great for them. But there are people that can travel. They don't see anything outside. They don't see anything outside of their home or their city. And bringing Saudi Arabian night, bringing Saudis in their national dress, bringing Japanese association in their national dress, that was mind blowing for them. They were mind blown. They were so excited. They were so happy. And there was a point when when we would be recognized on the streets, they'd be like, "Oh, you guys are SGA," and they would be like super excited about SUA, and they would be super excited about it. So that helped me knowing what impact I'm doing, realizing that even if limited, even if limited events, even if we couldn't do everything that we wanted to do, we could do only some of it, but still it was a major impact on the people that never been abroad. They were so excited, and that really made me motivated. That helped me to overcome it. Yeah, I hope I answered your question. Okay, so what's the best parenting advice you can give? Um, well, um, I think my best parenting advice would be remember remember that you and your partner are together at this. I think it's important to remember that. I think it's important to help out to your um, partner in any way possible, because I think that's what real parenting is. I know that you probably want to hear something about how to treat your kids, but um, I think when you treat each other well, when you treat each other with respect, when you love each other, that is the best parenting you can do to a kid. That is the best thing. That is what your kid sees. They see love, they see respect, and they just grow up in love and respect. And I think that's the best parenting that you can do. It you can just love and respect each other. Um, I know you didn't expect the cozy and sweet answer, but hey, uh, that one is for free. All right. Do we have any other questions, guys, or um, am I free to go? All right. Since there are no questions coming in, I would like to end the session. Again, I would like to thank you all, guys. You've been great. You're a great audience. This video will be uploaded on YouTube, so you will be able to watch it later on if you missed it. The next sessions, we will try to make them in Turkmen or Russian, because we would like to help out our community as much as we can. I'm sorry I couldn't do this in Turkmen, but I will prepare my next session in Turkmen. I'll do my best, I promise. And if you have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out. I am on LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. Just reach out, guys. I would like to chat with you. All right. Bye-bye.